Happy today. I am William Brown from IamWilliamBrown.com. This is Disconnect to Connect, One Word Conversations. One Word Conversations is a self-discovery, relationship building conversation designed to help us look at language and how we connect and disconnect from each other. Too often we can come up with all the lovely words that we can think of and still find ourselves in a disconnection state. So the more that we are willing to have our conversation with one word, we can learn more about ourselves and strengthen our relationships. One More Conversation is brought to you by IamWilliamBrown.com, a place to help you be yourself and live your life. There's a number of things there and coming out I will share at the end of our broadcast today. But one thing that I use to spotlight that is available at the store is our U cards. And our U cards are intention setting cards. They are journal prompts, and they are also a game. So go to IamWilliamBrown.com/the store and get your deck today. In my haste of picking cards for today and not really paying attention, I just noticed that the cards that I picked for this conversation is I am purpose, you are purpose, and I think you should just do it. So purpose and doing it. So whatever that you have to do, I suggest that you just do it. And so that's what's going to come up in this conversation today. This is the moment where I invite you to like, share, add comments, ask questions, do all those things to let me know that this conversation has value to you. And I want to introduce our word for today, and our word is here. The for you that follow the, I really am pretty good about letting people know what's coming up for the week and the words and the people. And the one thing that I had a guess that is in the that live on the continent of Africa. I can't remember what country she's actually in, but she was scheduled for today, and she told me early today that they were having a series of power issues and didn't think that she would be available to be on today. So it's like, look, we'll reschedule, we'll find some times. And it reminds me that many times we take a lot of things for granted in this country, and electricity is one of those things. So I don't know how I would live my life if every other day the power was out. And I had to just manage my life around that. But, you know, we're America, and it is something, there is a thing that called first world problems, right? So yeah. So the other thing that I want to acknowledge before I bring my guests on is that when I started this show back in April, I reached out to this person. I don't know if she remembers that, because I was the big concern that I had if people would show up and kind of be a part of this conversation and watch and do all those things. And I reached out to her because if there was a face in the definition of being here or being there for someone, Melissa's face would be there, because she is always present and in support of the people in her life. And so I needed a guest. I needed someone to step in, and she is here. So with that in mind, I am going to bring up my guests, and we're going to have a conversation. Good morning.
Good morning. Here I am.
Yeah, it's kind of funny today. Well, before I get into that, this is the moment where I ask you to introduce yourself however you would like, and feel comfortable.
Well, thank you. Well, you already did such a nice intro for me. Got me blushing and all smiling ear to ear over here like, oh, I've received those flowers. I do love being here. It's a calling, I guess.
Mm,
But my name is Melissa Price. I am, first of all, a mother of two. I have two little girls, Charlotte and Sophie, and a wife of one. I only need one husband. I am an author. I am a podcaster, e-commerce store owner, and actually got my kids kidpreneuring. They have their own e-commerce store as well.
right.
And yeah, that's, I guess, like you said it earlier, I do like to be there in the moment and supporting people. That's kind of my shtick. So
Yeah, it's kind of funny this morning when I was going to point to is that when I was doing my morning reflections, and I acknowledged that I would not, that my guests wouldn't be available and everything else, and our word was here. I saw that there were a couple people that were laughing. I was like, what are they laughing about? And it was like, that they're not here, right?
Right,
The
right.
person is not here, and it's just like it took me a while to get that, but it was kind of funny. So
You had another show where somebody didn't show up either, and the word was like totally, it was an ironic thing.
right, it was an
Remember,
ironic thing, and
we were in the park or something like that. I don't remember what the word was. And I feel like that guest was from Africa too.
yeah. So yeah. So I've done a couple of recordings, rebroadcasts that are recordings that for in other countries, like if it's Australia or something, I don't do it live. I usually pre-record that, mainly because of the time difference.
Time zones, yeah.
And I think I should go to the my guests in Africa. I just need to tell them that, hey, great, you're going to be a part of the show. We're going to, you tell me when the most convenient time, and that's when we're
Right.
going to record it. So we can kind of go from there. So I can have my African brothers and sisters be a part of
That's
be a part of
right.
the show, and go from there. So how does here show up for you?
Well, actually, it's one of those peculiar words, I think, to discuss. We did let last season, I think, was one of my words that I had, and was kind of like, oh, really, how much is there around it? Here obviously means here, like right here in this present space, in this present moment.
Right.
There's just a lot of presence with it, the here and now kind of thing. But what kind of stood out to me, I started just kind of dabbling around the many ways we throw here around in verbiage, like here it is, come here, la la la. And there's a couple that here I come, or here I go. It doesn't really make sense when it's used in its literal context like that.
Right.
So it's like here
Right.
I go.
Right.
It's like it doesn't work. Here
Right.
I come. It's like, but you're not going to here. You're not
Right.
coming to here. So I feel like we should use there I go or there I come, but it doesn't really flow as
Right.
much. But
Right.
so I thought it was kind of funny how we use it, and it literally doesn't mean what it should.
Right.
You know?
But and it's one of those things. There's a lot of words. I say things like that. That's the reason why I have challenges with the English language because of all the things, how it shows up. And it's like, you're right. It doesn't make sense. Well, where the hell are you? Right? You're not
Right.
here, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So how can can kind of go from there? How was coming up for me is that it's like I find myself here, right? I just kind of like, I look around and I see, I guess here I am, right? Right.
Yeah, it's like, and where is here really?
Right.
If here is the place, where
Right.
is here?
Right.
I don't
Where
know.
is here? Right.
That present space and place, but it's always changing.
Right.
You know?
And it's something that to look at the word, the things that I picked up, the cards that I picked for today was purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that where I am, right, is where I is, right. I don't know, I forget how it goes. But that when I look at purpose, right, when I look at purpose for my life, when I look at the things that are important, I can just say I am exactly where I need to be. I am here.
Right.
I am right where I need to be. And that, embracing that, acknowledging that, and staying with that, is how we can pull purpose out of the present, instead of saying that my purpose is over there. But no, your
Right.
purpose is here, wherever here is. And just be willing and able, um, to um, to embrace that and accept that, and go from there. So, do you find those moments where here is not where you want to be, but here is exactly where you need
Yeah.
to be?
That's where I was going to ask you. I had wrote that down. I had wrote, here is not always where we need to be, but I think you said it better. It's not where we always want to be,
Right.
but I guess, I have faith and I have that anastrophic mindset that everything's
Right.
always working for our good, and that we're meant to go through the things that we go through, our valleys and our mountains and whatnot. So, like you said,
Right.
you're always right where you're supposed to be, even if it feels like garbage.
Right.
There's a lot of growth that happens. My when I haven't been to church in like a year because of the pandemic. I'm just still a little like, I don't know about going and being around that many people kind of thing still. But my pastor back in the day used a great analogy or a comparison, I guess, a picture of comparing us to toothpaste. So
Hmm.
if you imagine yourself as a tube of Crest or Colgate, whatever, Tom's, if you like the organic natural stuff, um, when we go through those nasty moments, when our here is in a valley, I feel like, well, he said it's like, imagine God is like squeezing, when you get to the bottom of the toothpaste and you're like
Hmm.
squeezing all that junk out of there and you got to get that last bit out.
Hmm.
Once that tube's empty and he squeezes out all that previous stuff that you're distracted by, or those traditions and that knowledge that no longer serves you, and that growth happens, you got to get all the junk squeezed out of you first before you can be refilled back up as a new tube of toothpaste. Maybe
Right.
you were the toothpaste that had all the nasty stuff in it, and now God wants to make you the organic toothpaste.
Hmm.
So he's got
Wow.
to squeeze out the junk in order to put the good junk back in there, the good stuff
Right.
in there.
Right.
So yeah, that here is right where we're supposed to be. Even if we are getting everything squeezed out of us, we got to remember that he's never going to leave us high and dry or empty. He's always going to put back in, and it's almost always going to be better. We do grow from these situations, and
Right.
yes, I trust in that. The here isn't always where we want to be, but it's exactly where we are supposed to be.
Yeah. It's kind of, you know, I don't know if it's because of, just seeing your face or this conversation, or this, or this word that, I'm thinking of our friend Precious with, clocking in, right?
Yeah.
And it is, in class, in school, it was, we take attendance, right?
Attendance, yes.
Like,
Here.
you're right. And acknowledging that I'm present, the smart kids would say present, right? So, but everybody else would say
Yes.
here. It's like
Present.
really,
Yes.
it's like so really, where in my life do I need to check in, to acknowledge that I'm present, not just be aware that I'm present, but really, um, make an announcement that, and I think there is many times where I like to just, show up and linger in the back, right? It's like
Yes.
nobody really knows,
Be the
right?
wallflower, right?
Right, and just, and to have people question, hey, are you here? Are you, what's going on, right? What's, and it is, and I think life is calling for me, it feels like for myself. And I think that's why this word made the list of, all the words that I could have to kind of have within these conversations. It was, am I willing to embrace here? embrace showing up in my life and acknowledging that I'm showing up, not just kind of, sneak in, but really say, this is important. That's why I'm here.
Right.
This is, I care about, this. That's why I'm here. And really let people know. So you don't leave it up to people guessing. And I think there's a great thing about space, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can fill it with anything. And I realized that with, my housing situation, is that the larger that your house gets, the more stuff you find to put in it,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Oh my
Right?
God.
And it is like when you create a space for personal growth or self-care or whatever, we can decide what we're going to put in that space.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really think that this moment is inviting me to say, all right, carve out some time for you to be present. And what are you going to put in that? Now that you're present in this moment, what are you going to bring in it? What is your intentions? What do you believe your purpose for being here, in this moment? When you look at the history of the world, right? There's a reason why we're here now,
Right. Right.
right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of times that we could have showed up.
Right.
And the more that we embrace that we are here now for purpose, and just kind of be with that. And it wasn't just, there are sometimes it feels like, I'm here to just be frustrated and just be mad and to be disappointed and all those things that it's like, but there's so much more. There's so much more to that.
There is. There is. I like
And
that you
embrace
brought
that.
that up too. That well, I'm thinking of like the levels of here. Go back to
Mm,
when you were talking about showing up and like, okay, I'm here. But
right.
you're like sitting back, the wallflower situation. You're here hiding in the corner of the room, but are you really here?
Right.
It does make me think of Precious too. I've actually been feeling that lately. I need to do another I Hire Me challenge because I have never felt more present or here um,
Mm,
as I did doing that. And I kind of got comfortable in my zone, and I'm kind of like, okay, now I need to be over there now, not over here.
right.
Like,
Right.
I feel like that being here is not just existing in the room, but it is showing up. You
Right.
know, I look back to both of us when we first started doing the podcast stuff. We showed up, and in the
Right.
beginning, we were here,
Right.
but it was like there was a lot of uncertainty and not sure how you feel and all of it. But it's different now. I mean, when I come on and when you come on, there's
Right.
this I almost want to say there's like an assurance in the
Hmm.
way you show up now. There's this
Right.
confidence in the way you show up, the way I show up. Being here is like, hey, I'm here. Welcome to
Right.
Lessons and Legacies. Let me introduce you to my guest. You're like you have such a nice intro every time you come on, and you show up even with the happy today. It's like,
Right.
I know Bill, I know exactly what I'm getting, and he brings it.
Right.
In the beginning, it's like we were here, but we weren't really here. Really
Right.
present. Our bodies were there, but I feel like
Right.
levels of here. There's
Right.
like that physical, I'm here. There's that spiritual, emotional, I'm here. And then there's
Right.
that mental thought, okay, I'm here. Another way that it's used, and I say it to people myself, I've had it said to me, is, if you're daydreaming, if you're
Hmm.
like obviously off looking in the clouds, have you ever had somebody come up and say, like, hey, are you even here? Are
Right.
you here with me right now? Are you here?
Right.
It's like, well, obviously you're looking at me, but
Right.
they're referring to, where are
Right.
you? You're out in La La Land. So I don't
Right.
know, to be like fully here,
Right.
fully present, I think you have to have all the levels in there. You have to have your mind present. You have to have your body present.
Right.
And I think that to really be here and show up, your spirit's got to be there. You've got
Right.
to have that spirit present as well.
Right. There's a conversation, that I had within my coaching around not looking for balance, look for presence, be present. I think that's what the title was. It's like, don't look for balance, be present. There's a lot of things about work-life balance and all that other kind of stuff. And what I was inviting people to do is like you were saying, be where your body is.
Right.
If your body can be at work, right? You can be sitting in your office, sitting in your chair, and kind of, even looking at the screen.
Right.
But if your mind is like in the kitchen, or all over, you're not there. You are not here, and you
Yeah, another
cannot. Yeah.
example. You're married, okay? When I'll speak for myself, as you like to say. Sometimes those intimate moments happen. That's a perfect example I'll throw out there where your mind's not in it. Like sometimes I'm tired and husband wants to be intimate and whatnot. That's a moment where, like, yeah, I'm physically here, but I'm trying to make my grocery list for tomorrow. Oh, wait, what is going to be for dinner? Do I have shredded cheese? Do I have shredded cheese? And he'll be like, babe, are you here? Well, yes, I'm here,
Right.
but I'm thinking about dinner,
Right.
That's
Wow.
another way that comes out with, like, not being fully present, not being
Right.
fully here.
There is there's a thing that came up. It's come up a number of times within this conversations, and I think I'm going to put it on the list of words that I'm going to have, and the word is fully,
Really?
because we really, again, I'll speak for myself, is that we accept a lot less than fully, right?
Yes.
It is, it's like,
It, but we accept it.
right. It's like, okay, I'm here, but I'm not here. And that's okay. Well, at least I'm here, right? It's
Right.
like, dude, right? But your
Partially.
funky attitude is here too. Let's like, why don't you get rid of that, right? It's that type of thing. But
Right.
if we fully showed up, if we were fully here, that's a totally different thing. And it reminds me of the comment that Beverly said, I'm here now. Now what, right?
That's right.
And I think we get to a place where we expect, there's this expectation. I have this expectation that, I just had this image of a Disney World, the happiest place in the world. It's like, you're
not
there. It's not, right?
There is no magic in that kingdom. Let me tell you.
Right. And I just when I a number of years ago when we took our kids there, I can honestly say, as soon as I got off the plane, at Orlando Airport, I heard cha-ching.
Oh God.
And it was like,
that's an expensive trip.
they are going to take it's like every movement, it's going to cost you something.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Every breath you have
right.
to breathe.
There is something, and that you buy into this reality, this Disney reality, and it's like, this is not a thing on Disney or that, but that in order for me to be happy and really experience this happiness, I just need to spend, right? Because I'm here,
Oh my
right?
God.
right? And so that's as fully. It's like, fully give me all your money, right?
Right. The full account, the full
so you can
wallet.
get the full apart. You
You could be leaving here in the negative, folks.
Right. And I think that is why that I think many times that we don't show up fully, because we don't want to be spent.
Right.
We when we leave this here, wherever here is, we want to have something to take with us, right?
Right.
But and so how can we? So I think our here's, right? If we really embrace our purpose, right, and our purposeful actions, right, and our movements, then wherever we go, purpose is, right?
Right.
So we're not spent, right? We're not depleted, and we don't find those those situations where um, our here is a place of, of separating ourselves from ourselves and from, our resources,
Right.
type of thing. And I think that's why we show up, to these conversations, in your conversation. I think I can remember your first appearance on this show.
I was
Um,
so nervous.
and it was I was like, I wonder if she's going to make it, right? Is she going to,
You
it's
gonna
like,
pass
I'm fine.
out mid-episode or what?
Right. It's like, okay, we're in. And then, then I saw the comfort level go up and everything like that. And now to see you, on Sunday and see you on your show, it's not that you're like, oh, this is old hat, but it's just like, I'm here. Whatever's going to show up. Sometimes
Right.
technology gets in the way, all that kind of stuff. I'm just here.
Mhm.
And that is something that um, too often we we kind of question because we haven't shown up. Because that is a recognition. I think that's a recognition that, what, there's many times that I wasn't there,
Oh
that I
yeah,
wasn't
definitely.
here. And so now there's a question if I am really going to be here. Now this is important. Now the camera is on, right? Now
Exactly.
now people are watching. Am I here? Right? And so now is is that. So yeah, can you feel the difference for yourself?
Yeah, and I definitely can tell the difference in myself for sure. Like I said, I used to be so nervous coming on and doing these things, and it's Sundays are my favorite day of the week. It even takes the cake on doing my own thing. And you said, there's a difference between being just here, I'm just here,
Right.
or I'm here, like
Right.
there's that confidence that came with it, that
Right.
comfortability level, it grew. And
Mhm.
now I can come and show up and be here, like, hey,
Right.
instead
Right.
of like, yeah, I'm here,
Right.
I like what Beverly says in the comments there. It says, what if here is scary or overwhelming? And I had wrote down on my notes, like you had said to embrace the here,
Mhm.
embrace the fact that we're exactly where we need to be. What makes us want to strive for there? You know,
Right.
we're here. Why do we always look for the grass on the other side of the fence to be greener?
Right.
Why are we always looking at trying to keep up with Joneses down the block? Why
Right.
is it so hard for us to embrace the here, even if it is scary and overwhelming?
Right.
Um, Again, I think a lot of time, and it can be scary and overwhelming. And I'm going to say something here, and I don't want it to come off with the wrong way. So hear
Just
me
say it.
out. But I feel like when we're not embracing the here that we're in and it is scary and overwhelming, that maybe we need to do like a faith check. We need
Mm.
to do like a little inward self check and say, okay, where's my faith level at?
Right.
Why am I scared? Why
Mhm.
am I overwhelmed?
Right.
Why am I not believing that everything's working for the good? Why am I not believing that God's got this? Where
Right.
where am I seeing that I can't handle it? I wasn't built for this. I
Right.
think we need to turn inward when that here is scary and overwhelming, and it's not about the where you are physically, it's where are you in your heart?
Right.
Where are you in your spirit zone right now?
Right.
A lot of times for me, like I said, I am no she woman. Like I break down, I have meltdowns, I go
Right.
through periods in my life where like, we're still filing for the bankruptcy stuff. If you can believe it's been like 7, 8 months or something, this is still
Right.
going on. But when we first started it, and I met with the lawyer and we were getting all the paperwork and stuff together, that was a year that I was scared to be in, because
Right.
every minute of every day, all I had in my heart was like, we're going to lose our house. We're going to be homeless. We're going to lose our house.
Right.
How can I lose the house with my
Right.
babies?
Right.
That was a very scary year.
Right.
But, so many things came across my path. So many people, after I came out with it and didn't try to like hide that, so
Right.
many people stepped up and um, not only helped financially, but really spiritually, like,
Mm.
and emotionally with me. So many people then kind of validated what I was going through and saying, hey, I filed for bankruptcy 3 times. Hey, I lived in my car for 9 months. Hey, I was in an abusive marriage and lived in the garage because I didn't want to get my butt beat, but I made it. I'm
Right.
here now. That
Right.
wasn't here I wanted to be in. I wanted to go over there. But I think, you have to check inside you and say,
Right.
okay, let me realign my faith. Let me breathe this into existence and speak it into existence too.
Right.
We will get through this. We
Right.
can do this. It will be okay. And
Right.
I feel like by doing that, you feed yourself the power that you need to stay in your present here for as long as needed so you can
Right.
learn the lesson, grow,
Mm.
and move on and be ready for the next mountain,
Right. Yeah, there is no, I really appreciate you sharing that. And I guess what's coming up for me is there are many times for myself where I want to I guess learn my lesson, stay here as long as I need to stay here to learn the lessons. And that's why I would say that I have this unhealthy relationship with consistency, right? So I can do that. And um but at the same time, I know that I want to eliminate suffering for people and trauma
right,
for people. And I don't want myself or anybody to stay in this traumatics here, right?
right, right,
And so the more that we're fully present, and I really feel that there's a large part of my life um, that I was so unaware of, right? That I just kind of, call it favor, call it ignorance, call it whatever it is. But it's just like I was just going through life oblivious to the struggles and the difficulties, of it. There's a lot of, growing up in the inner city of Pittsburgh in the projects, I would talk to people and they would tell me about, how they were living and how difficult it was and the struggle and everything like that. And I would, I'd look back and go, I guess, there were times when I can remember looking in the cabinet and not seeing anything, or looking in the refrigerator and seeing something that, that I didn't want to have and everything like that. But I don't remember at that time that it was a struggle, right? It was just, that's what it was.
it is what it is.
Right.
Was what was.
And so it is like, am I denying that? And so when I got in situations where, there was always something, there was always, it wasn't, my kids, that there was, they never went without, but there was always, it was like their choice. Well, I don't want that, right? It's like really? How about,
You sound like
food?
my kids.
Right. It's like food or no food. Let's go
Right.
there. This,
That's what
you
my
know.
husband is. He says the same thing. He's like, that's it for dinner. And if you
Right.
don't want it, you'd be hungry. Eat
Right.
it
It's
or go to
like
bed hungry.
that
Here it
impromptu
is.
fast, right? Impromptu fast you have just decided to have, right? But it is that type of thing. So how can we embrace? And so it brings me back to the question: how can I embrace to stay the staying of here, but
Mhm.
recognizing that there is a there. There
Right,
is another here that is also calling me, right?
right,
There is another place, and not just kind of stay here to prove a point or to
right,
continue to, I don't know, learn or anything like that. Because there are some lessons that I have learned and that I was like, well, did I really learn that?
right,
And then you get another pop on the head, and it's
right.
like, yeah,
Ta-da.
okay, right, yeah, I know, right, right,
Right.
it's like,
Sometimes I think we try to fake ourselves out of the fact of learning because we're like, ooh, if if I stay here and learn this lesson even more, it's probably not going to feel good. And so we're like, oh, I get it. And then we try to sneak out,
Right.
try to sneak out. You're at that party, and then all of a sudden everybody wants to start doing tequila shots and you don't drink, and you're like, okay, I'm here, but I'm there. You sneak out like, okay, I learned I shouldn't have showed up, but like, I don't know, maybe you should have stayed and taken a shot. I don't know.
I don't know. Look, it's like I said, it's those moments. We only, it came up in our conversation, a conversation that I heard earlier this week of genuine, right? That the only person that really knows if you're being genuine or not is you.
Yeah, and I agree with that because it comes from the heart. Being
Right.
genuine comes from your heart, from your spirit, from your soul, from the essence that is you.
Right.
That's the reality of it's your realness. So yeah, the only person who really knows that and can know that is you. That comes from your spirit.
Right. And so really to embrace here, there has to be a level of honesty.
Right.
And genuine and authentic, and just say there are sometimes that moment when I say to myself, yeah, I'm being an ass right now. And just own it, right? And it's like, I was right. I am all this, and all of my intelligence and all the things that are Bill, right? Until I sit down and go, yeah, no, I was not right.
Yes, you have to do those admittance sometimes.
Right. And it's just like
but that's really learning a lesson right there, being able to admit and verbalize. And like a big one for me is if I screw up and I have to go and apologize to my kids, like there's nothing more humbling than having to be the grown-up who goes and apologizes to their kids for having a temper tantrum.
Right. Right.
That's a lesson to learn, and being genuine and being here and present.
Because then it really brings you it brings you there. There are many places because you don't embrace here. And sometimes it's like, where the hell am I right now? And it's like, I'm here, I'm there, I'm here, and there. It's like, but it's like being present. It's like I'm present to this moment, and then this moment is gone. Am I going to be present to the next moment? Because if I stay in the last moment, then I'm not present to the current moment. And then I miss. So it's like there are many times where I'm playing catch up with my moments. Okay, am I present? I am present to this moment, but there's a couple moments back there that I wasn't present to. So it's like, but now I'm present to that.
You have to play catch up because it takes you longer to learn certain lessons than others. You know? And I got to say, Beverly says, she brought up an interesting point, which I'm going to piggyback on here. Actually, I'm going to tell. So Beverly says, next wave is here behind me, with me, or in front of me. Well, I think anywhere but where you are at the moment is there. Where you are in the moment is here. And Precious says, you embrace, you can never get there. You got to embrace the here. You can never get there if you don't first start here. You must get present to make it to the future. Here, there, here's the present, there is the future. So my question, this is what I've been feeding off of these couple comments here. What happens in the limbo between here and there?
Right.
When you're here, and something has to happen. And then there's you're here and there's there. If you need to get from here to there, something needs to happen. And what happens in that point? What do we call that word in that space, that limbo, that motion, that moment where you move,
It is in the word, because I was looking at the word here and there, right? The words here and there. And so
I didn't even think about that.
The
here
difference,
is the word there.
the difference between here and there is the T. What is the T? Time. Right.
or a T is a form of a cross, and that could be a crossroads.
Or it's a crossroads, right?
It's a place where a decision needs to be made. A choice needs to be made. You're at the crossroads, the intersection. You got options now.
Intersection between here and there.
You've got 4 different theirs. You're in the middle, and you can go north, south, east, or west. You got some decisions to make on which there you're going to go to, which will be your new here,
Wow. It's like because I saw in my mind here and a crossroads, the T, right?
Right.
And another here. What where are you going to go?
Right.
You
Yeah.
can, cuz you
I
can stay
actually like
here,
that.
right? You
I
can
like that
stay
a lot.
you can stay here or and miss there, right?
Right.
And just kind of go from there, right?
I mean, that's really bringing like a huge visual to my mind. I see that like the T, the only difference between here and there is the T or the crossroads. You got to make a decision to
Right.
move from here to your next here. And how
Right.
do we do that too? How do
Right.
we know we're making the right choice?
As you remember, I don't know if you remember because I know you watched the reflections this morning
Mhm.
that there was a question that came up that I am wasting too much energy on my decisions. It feels like that I am putting a lot of energy in my decision making time, and I want to be, thoughtful and considerate and all those other kind of things, but also I want to execute. I want to
Right,
like complete things. I want to kind of be available for the next here,
right,
right? If I'm spending so much time on my decision making at the crossroads, you know, where the hell am I?
right.
That's
Kind of
right.
floating around out
It
there.
and it here is the image that just came to me. The here crossroads and the next here, right? Here's the image that just came up for me. I because I was taking too much time at my crossroads, right?
Yeah.
I was becoming a martyr on the cross.
Oh, look
I
at all these
was
visuals coming out.
in the pity party
Yep.
of where the hell am I?
Mhm.
Oh my God, I have these terrible decisions to make and all that other.
Right,
Just make the damn decision, right? Get the hell off the cross. I'm speaking to myself now. I'm
right,
speaking to myself, right? So I'm not talking to anybody else. Get off the cross and go and come here, right?
right.
And that is what's coming up for me. It's like my ability or inability to really go to my next here is, I'm creating my own suffering.
Yeah. And, the fact that I relate to you with the decision making too. I remember one of your shows. I don't know if it was one word or a happy today, but I really specifically remember you talking about like you spend more time looking, and I do this too. I do this too. I'm the same way, but I will spend more time like trying to find the right cover shot to go on something to be able to get the broadcast up and out. And I'm like, before I know it, I've got 10 photos up, and I'm like, this one, that one, I'm not sure. And an hour and a half, 2 hours has gone by, and I'm like, well, God, I could have had 20 broadcasts posted by now if I could just be here and make the
Right.
decision. But here's the thing with that. Here is the thing. The
Right.
decision making, if we're spending too much time in that, we're not
Mm.
fully here. We're not
Right.
fully here.
Wow.
You know,
Mm.
we 3 levels of here: your physical presence, your spiritual presence, and your mental presence. If you are caught up in the I can't decide, 'cause again, I'm the same way. What are we going to have for dinner? At the kids want tacos. I don't want tacos, but it's easy. I
Right.
can't decide what to make for dinner. I'm spending all
Right.
this time going and going through these ingredients and different things I might want. I'm not really fully here. I'm out
Right.
there. This
Right.
is out there. My body
Right.
is here. My
Right.
spirit might be in the limbo in between because I always get frustrated trying to figure these things out. But
Right.
if we're struggling with making a decision, we're
Mm.
not fully here. You're
Right.
out elsewhere thinking of all the other theirs and here's that could be,
Right.
and not fully here. So I think the trick with that word is to really, I go back to, you said it in the beginning, embrace your here. And that doesn't mean to say you need to stay stuck in it. Don't be like, oh, I'm here, and no matter how bad it is, I'm going to stay here to prove a point or
Right.
learn my lesson extra. It's like you are here.
Right.
Dig deep. What am I supposed to learn and gain and benefit from this here that I can take to the next here and make
Right.
it better, you know?
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. That just stuck out to me. I'm like, if we're stuck in that decision-making
Yeah.
situation, we're not even really fully here, are we?
We're not
You
here.
know? And
We
that
just
goes back
left.
to your card today that puts you in the just do it moments.
Right.
Just do it.
I
You
think you
know,
should
just
just do it, right?
damn pick macaroni and cheese for dinner. Pick a picture, post it, just do it, move on to your next here. You know,
Right. Wow.
just do it.
That is crazy. I think you should just do it. I
Just
think that right.
exactly.
That's just it.
Just like Nike
Uh,
says.
right. It's wow. It's yeah. I mean, a big part of my I guess the catalyst for my what I called my shitstorm in my life when everything was like falling apart was that I wasn't at home. Right. When I was at home, I was worried about what was happening or not happening at work. And when I was at work, I was worried about what was happening and not happening at home. So I was nowhere. Right. And so it didn't surprise me, like in hindsight is 2020, as they say, that when it all came crashing down at home and at work, um, because I wasn't at either place. I was on my cross, right? And it's like the more that I have gotten present, present in my life, present where my body is, the more that I can show up for people. And I just got, there's a number of things that I'm been working on, need to finish, need to post. I mean, there are some things I will admit this. So as you know, because it's just you and me, right?
It's just us here.
That there are a number of things that are actually finished that I just didn't post.
Why?
That there is always because I'm on the damn
backup,
cross.
that's your safety net. You got to
I'm
have
on, because I'm at the crossroads.
here.
I'm making decisions. Is this exactly? Will people receive it? Oh, and it's like I can never get to my next here if I stay there,
right?
and so, and it's like for me, someone when I had an executive assistant, a number of years ago, and I think that's something that I need again. I just love that, have somebody. It's like an extra thinker, and it's like she was great because she would say, yeah, I don't think that's what you're going to do today. Right. It's like, oh, okay. Right. And it just would keep me in line and just kind of,
obviously I'm missing something.
Right. And it's like, yeah, that's not on your calendar. And this is what I know that's important, but this is what we're doing today. And it's just like, okay. And it just kind of happened. But there was just this, this place of really feeling that I didn't feel that it was complete. I wouldn't give it the sign off. I wouldn't say there is one more thing that I will make this work. I will make this perfect. People will love it, all that other kind of stuff. And then they didn't have access to it because I had it. And so yeah. And so, my assistant would say, are we going to have a brain dump today? Am I just going to get everything? Am I just going to get everything from you that you've been holding back? It's like, I appreciate it, but, you gotta let this stuff out a little bit easier than that, because it's like, and I don't want, and sometimes you'll see that on my posting. You'll see that I won't post for a while, or I'll have a couple posts and everything like that. And then all of a sudden there's like 3 or 4 posts that happen. It's like, what the hell's going on over there at IamWilliamBrown.com?
He's obviously
something
coffee,
right. And it's like, and so it is. So, putting things on, a timer and all, because this is what I recognize about myself. And I'll share this as we're wrapping up, is that, I recognize that there are, a lot of things that can grab my attention, and that a lot of times the conversations that I'm having today is not just for today. There's a knowing that I have in my head and in my heart that this conversation that we're having about here is for now, but the greater impact is for later. And so really recognize that I miss the here moments because I hold on to it.
Yeah.
I push back the later because I don't release it.
Right.
And so the more that I'm able to be here, be present, have it out, and go from there, then we can move on from there. So, yeah.
I got one more nugget for you before we go.
Okay. This will be your final nugget.
Yeah, I'll give you the final nugget so I can be here. I like how Precious said this. She says, here is always honoring your current feelings. And that's exactly where I was going with this.
Mm.
You had mentioned the word nowhere when you felt like you were nowhere. Let's just do that. This should be a new word for you if you haven't done it yet. Look at the spelling of that word. What does that break down to?
No.
Now, here.
Now, wow.
So when you feel like you're nowhere, when you're in those overwhelming, scary heres, or that nowhere, that's what I always say. Like when we're getting squeezed and we're in those valleys and we feel like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Like God wants us to reach out and ask for help and to rely on him and to say, I can't do this by myself, but I know you work all things for good. And through Christ's strength, it's Christ who strengthens me, I can do all things. That nowhere, that feeling of nowhere is you're here now. You're now here. When you're realizing where you are, that nowhere feeling is actually, you've arrived. You're now here. Now you get it. Now you can move. And
now you can make a decision, right? Wow.
Sometimes you gotta be at the valley to make that important decision to climb to the next peak. Right. So you're in that bottom, you're now here. It's now your time. You're at that crossroads. You're not nowhere. You're now here. Now make a decision and move there, which is the crossroads. You're next here.
Right. But you're next
here, and nowhere. They all go totally together. You could do like a 3-word. You should do like a show with all 3 of those words. I think we just did. Really.
Right. There it is. No, that is great. Thank you very much.
So those nowhere moments are.
It's really interesting that you weren't the scheduled guest, but you were the perfect guest.
Yeah. Hey, and we've got such great audience that helps it along too. I mean, and it's great. I love reading everybody's feedback and stuff because, like I said, Precious had such a great way of saying that here is always honoring your current feelings. And I had wrote down nowhere is now here. You put those 2 together and it's like, okay, you're now here honoring how you feel, that desperation, that worthlessness, that failure, whatever it is that's consuming you in that pit, you're finally honoring it. That is here, honoring your real feelings. And so the nowhere transforms to now here. I love comments with people. This worked out good. And you got, like I said, multiple words. You got here, there, and nowhere.
And nowhere.
How's that for being here?
Hey, and we're here.
Amen.
So with that in mind, I invite you to share your site. You can put it in the comments so people can connect with you. I think you put my site in the comments more than I do, and so I appreciate that.
So people can
I guess I need to do that.
They got to go from here to there.
From here to there. Thank you very much. I will see you on Sunday when we
11 o'clock. That's right.
When we talk about our view
Mhm.
But this has been great. Thank you, my
All
friend.
right. Thank
If
you.
you're able to stay, that would be wonderful. If not, I totally understand because there's
Always.
another there calling you, right? There's another here calling you,
But I'm
right?
here right now, and I
Oh,
like
yeah.
this here. I might stick and absorb a little bit more, marinate in this here a little longer.
Right.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much.
Okay. Oh boy. Wow. Noun here. Whenever you feel like you're nowhere, you are noun here. I think that was worth the price of admission right there. Oh, good Lord. That's is what these conversations are all about. Here. How is here showing up for you? How is here showing up for you? Honor your feelings, be authentic, oh, and go from there to here. Um, I think you should just do it. That is the mantra for today. The affirmation that I shared today was that with optimism, faith, and effort, I will overcome all of my challenges. Right? With optimism, faith, and effort. So that's how you can be present. That's how you can. What's here? Bring your whole self here, mind, body, spirit here. So, whatever challenge, whatever this moment is inviting you to do, you will get it. So, thank you very much. I hope this conversation has not been just valuable for you today, but for your life. Um, I invite you to reach out to me at iamwilliambrown.com for a complimentary coaching session so you can be yourself and live your life. Because the world wants you, the world needs you, but the world isn't waiting for you. So go be you. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you tomorrow on One Word Conversations.